With me is a 2007 Lexus IS350, and I'm excited because I've been hearing about how this is a sleeper car, and you would never know it by looking at the outside. And that was the whole point. When Lexus decided to go after BMW, wanted to take down the 330i at the time, which was the leader of the luxury sport compact segment, Lexus decided to come out the second gen IS, threw in a huge 3.5 liter V6 engine pumping over 300 horsepower, and they decided to attack the segment in a big way. So even today, this engine is being used, it's modern, and I'll be driving this around and testing the performance and let you know, is this really a sleeper car, and is it practical? Can you drive this as a daily car, and can you haul the family around? So if you're interested, stay tuned. All right, so here's a good look of the front. I think it still looks pretty modern, doesn't look too dated. You do have projector headlights, HIDs, you do have fog lights, and you do have front parking sensors, which a lot of cars don't have. All right, so here's a good look at the backside. It's pretty plain, but I think it fits this car well, and it looks pretty good. You see the parking sensors, you see the dual exhaust tips. It's very unlike the newer cars, which there's a lot more edgier lines and cuts and chrome. This is just what you would expect in a sporty luxury sedan, and it fits this car well. Let's talk about the engine real quick. This is a large displacement 3.5 liter V6 that pumps out 306 horsepower and 277 pound-feet of torque. That is a lot of power. When this came out in 2006, it destroyed the Germans. There was nothing close to this. And this engine is so good that it's still being used today. The newer IS350 still use the same engine, and this carried over to the ES model and also to Toyotas. And this type of large displacement engines is honestly going away because the whole industry is about efficiencies. They're going smaller with turbos. And you know what? This is probably the last large displacement V6 we'll see in a sedan like this in this segment forever. Inside this IS350, let's start her up. You'll see that the steering wheel moves up towards you. The gauge cluster turns on. Looks pretty cool, pretty standard. And then you can see the center dash. Again, this is a modern layout. Remember, this is an 11-year-old car, and it still looks very modern, even by today's standards. You do have a touchscreen for navigation. You have this silver looking trim, and you got some fake wood right here. Of course, you do have a standard gear selector, which I'm loving. I don't know why all the new cars have fancy buttons when this is fine. You do have backup camera. Both mirrors go down, actually. I noticed that, not just the passenger side, but also, look at it, the driver's side window also moves. That is a first. In terms of the sunroof, it's not a panoramic one, just a standard one, but there is a selector. So you do that and it opens up. You see that? It opens up according to how much you turn on this on this selector, and I have never seen that before. This is the first time ever. Every single car I've been in, there's like something you push forward or backwards or down. Never one that you actually have to spin, and it actually works really well. If you want it open 25%, you do that. 45, 50%, you do that all the way. I mean, it's very, very intuitive. That is really, really unique. Now over here you do see the window controls, the lock, windows lock, mirror controls, and memory seats. But over here you do see something that's unique. This shades for the rear passengers, which not a lot of cars have, and this car does. And then of course fuel tank and trunk over there. You do see a couple of nice paddle shifters here, right? I'm gonna give that a try once I take this car out on the road. If you're trying to impress a date, or you're hauling a family around, or this is your daily driver, this is perfectly suited. But is this a sleeper car? Is the performance there? Let's find out. All right guys, out on the road, first impression is that this is a very comfortable car. It's not the most spacious. Remember, this is the compact sport segment, which is smaller than the midsize, like the ES, GS, and even compared to the Accord that I recently reviewed. So it is tighter, right? Width-wise, I can tell shoulder room, hip room, headroom is a little bit smaller, but overall, I'm still very comfortable. Up here, you could definitely fit large adults, tall adults just fine. This engine is super smooth. The transmission is silky. Steering feels good. This is not using those electronic steering. This is using hydraulic steering, so you do have that traditional feel, which I like. The steering wheel is comfortable. It's not too thick. It is leather, and it feels good in your hands. Brakes feel decent. It doesn't engage right away. Some of the newer cars, it's like they use electronic brakes too. It's either on or off. This does have a linear feel to it, so it does slow down as you push it down. So I like that. A lot of these new cars now, because they're trying to improve fuel efficiency and so forth, it's electronic this, electronic that, like electronic brakes, electronic steering, all this stuff. And it makes it feel artificial. It's not as fun, it's not as engaging. You don't have the same kind of feel. And this car is before all that started happening. So it actually makes the drive really enjoyable. At least I enjoy it. Let's see how good these paddle shifters are, which I heard a lot about. Now I'm in second. I'm not gonna shift. Yeah, it does hold for you, and a cool red light comes on when it tells you you need to shift. So it does tell you that. So in terms of, does it hold the gear for you? Yes, it'll hold it until you actually shift. When it downshifts for you, however, when you're coming to a stop, the selector still tells you what your old gear was. So that's a little bit different. Wow. Once the revs gets up there, the car moves. That's a surprise. This is definitely a quick car. Now, about 10 years ago, I had a E46 M3, which came with 333 horsepower. It revved really high, 8,000 plus RPMs. It's surprising because the quarter mile time on that M3 was about 13.3, and in this car is 13.5. You could definitely feel it when you're really gunning it and RPM's up there. You can feel this car really move. So this is a quick car. 0 to 60, people get anywhere from 5.1 to 5.5 seconds, which doesn't sound that impressive, but there's very little cars that can do 0 to 60 under 5 seconds. Even modern day sports cars are struggling to get under 5 seconds. So this is a really quick little car. And is it a sleeper car? Yeah, it is. I mean, there's very little cars out there that can outperform this, especially at this price. You can find ones for under 10,000. That's 100,000 miles, which a lot of you guys think is very high, but honestly, in Lexuses and Toyotas, the reason why the resale value is so enormously good is because they don't really break down. There's not that much repairs. Of course, there's maintenance involved and stuff, but overall, 100,000 miles on a Toyota engine is really just breaking it in. A lot of these cars, 150, 200, 250,000 miles. But you can get ones under 15,000 that is more about 60 or 70,000 miles on the clock if you're more comfortable with that. But man, in terms of performance, you're not gonna find many cars in this price range that can match this, and even cars that are 2 or 3 or 4 times more expensive, you're gonna have a hard time competing with this car as well. This is impressive. This is a quick car. I'll tell you what, guys, if I had this car as a daily car, I would be very, very happy with it. Honestly, I'm just cruising around town right now, and I can't find any faults to this car. It's actually really, really nice all around. And considering this is an 11-year-old car, and you can find one for under $10,000 and a little less miles at 15,000, I would be very happy with this car. to conclude, let's talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly about this car. The good, there's a lot of good. Okay, is this a sleeper car? Yes. In this price range, I don't think you're gonna find much other cars that can compete. 0 to 60, quarter mile, passing. Overall, the performance of this car is there, and it doesn't look like it, right? If you're driving around in a Mustang or a Camaro, people expect it to be fast. This car, it's a Lexus. People don't expect it to be fast, and it is, trust me. 306 horsepower with the 6-speed definitely moves the car, so that's good. What else is good? Overall, the interior I think looks great. The outside doesn't look too dated. It actually has that modern look, which is good. The amenities, right? You got a lot. Parking sensor, you got navigation, rear camera, you got the rear shades, you got a sunroof, you got paddle shifters. So in terms of amenities, it's there. The seats, nice and comfortable. You got both cooled and heated seats. Again, in a hot day or a cold day, you go wish you had those. So those are good. So in terms of amenities, it has everything. Yeah, everything in here is designed well. It drives well. It's very comfortable. You know, while I'm driving around town, I just feel like it's a comfortable car. And if you wanted to impress a date or your friends or whatever, you still can, because this is a Lexus. And even this at 100,000 miles, it still looks great. It still looks great. And you know, because Toyota/Lexus reliability, you're not gonna have a lot of problems with this car either. In terms of the bad, man, in terms of the bad, I'm struggling. I'm struggling. When looking for these cars, at least around my area, there wasn't that many of them. In terms of IS350, they're either being gobbled up or owners are just keeping them forever. I only found 10 listings, and it depends on your area, but it seems like this is starting to get rare and you don't see a lot of people sell these. So if you're trying to look for IS350 in the market, maybe you're gonna have a harder time finding the one that you want in terms of the color or maybe the option or the miles, something like that. So maybe that is going to be a problem. So I'll throw that as the bad. And also in terms of the bad, the rear seats are smaller. This is in the compact luxury segment, so you're not gonna get loads of space. But up front, I'm very comfortable, and I'm a pretty big guy, so I'm pretty comfortable up here. In the back is lacking, so if you're trying to haul a lot of big people around, they're not gonna fit in the back too well. But if you're just hauling around kids or smaller adults, they're gonna be fine just back there. The trunk is pretty big too, and that's it. I don't see anything else I would consider a bad on this car. There's just not a lot. In terms of the ugly, nothing. There's nothing that I could pinpoint that I would say that needs to be changed right away or that's really hideous or anything like that. And that's it, guys. That's it for my review. I really enjoyed this drive. And if you guys are looking for a really affordable and comfortable car with the performance, this is a car to look at. Trust me, this IS350 will really impress you guys after you get behind the wheel and take it around town. All right, if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any future videos. Thanks, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.